why some new age organizations thrive despite numerous failures, and what sets them apart from others.
What is changing is basically there is a reimagination happening around data-centric experimentation because of multiple factors.
You need experimentation, which is test and learn, is an essential element of ensuring that your data delivers the results demanded by the business. Welcome you to the podcast on data-centric experimentation for marketing. Data-centric experimentation means testing different ideas and hypotheses using data that is accurate, reliable, and comprehensive, which then informs various marketing decisions. Though the idea seems simple, the topic is much beyond that. We will be covering this exciting topic in a two-part series. In the first episode today, we will explore how data-centric experimentation has reshaped marketing strategies for many big companies, and what are the consequences for those who fail to adapt. We will discuss why some new age organizations thrive despite numerous failures and what sets them apart from others. We'll also discuss the major shifts in how marketing organizations have embraced data-centric experimentation and explored how data-centric experimentation will evolve in the Gen AI area. So stay with us as through the journey through the transformative world of data-centric experimentation in marketing and discover how it can shape the future of your organization's success. As a quick introduction, I'm Ashish Sehdev, VP with Everest Group, and I'll be the moderator for this discussion. I'm joined by two experts, Vishal Gupta, VP at Everest Group, and Aniruddha Rai, VP Analytics at Factspan. I'll let Vishal and Aniruddha introduce themselves.
Thanks, Ashish, and hello, everyone. My name is Vishal, and I'm a Vice President with Everest Group. In that capacity, I lead all our research and advisory in the broader data, analytics, and artificial intelligence space. I'm extremely passionate about all things data and AI. So happy to be on this call and looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Ashish. Thanks, Vishal. This is Aniruddha. I'm Vice President of Analytics. I manage delivery and also innovation. About 22 years of experience in the industry. All data and AI, very much like Vishal, extremely passionate, and right now very excited about this topic. Back to you.
Awesome. So, before we dive into details around data-centric experimentation, why don't you just share what does data-centric experimentation really mean, and why is it so important today, and what's the cost of not doing it in the current business environment?
Yeah, I think that's a great starting point. Just as a context setting, data-centric experimentation is not new. Experimentation has been a fundamental pillar of business strategy. We have been doing a lot of in our work when we do strategic analytics, when we do marketing analytics. Experimentation has been there for at least 7 to 10 years, if not more. Data centricity as a concept has become very popular over the last 7-10 years. Multiple factors, big data, cloud as an enabler, a lot of technologies. What is changing is basically there is a reimagination happening around data-centric experimentation because of multiple factors. What we see in a lot of our clients is they are either recalibrating their maturity on data-centric experimentation and taking it to the next level. They are benchmarking with their competition and visible and invisible competition, because in today's world, you never know where your competition is going to come from next. They are redesigning the architecture of the experimentation with data at the core, or next level data at the core. Velocity, frequency, efficiency, all this is in the play. And lastly, technology. They are trying to use the latest, technologies in their best way to take the level of data-centric experimentation 1 or 2 notch upper, right? So why is this happening? To me, there are fundamentally 3 reasons. One is, the realization in most business decision makers, obviously marketers, that the world that we are living in, which is extremely volatile, uncertain, very chaotic, very ambiguous, it is not a special scenario. It is the new normal. That's number one thing that has, I think, percolated within the board and all leaders. If you look at business leads, we can sense it as company, as part of our journey. We can sense it too. So that's one where people now realize that we have to continually evolve, like the constant Kaizen theory. We have to keep doing this whole PDCA based experimentation, but we have to do it with smart data, reliable data. We have to do it in smaller micro experiments at a large scale. The second is, as you highlighted, the cost. There's always a simple equation. There's a cost of doing experiments, and there is a cost of lost opportunity of not doing experiments or doing experiments in a bad manner. That gulf is widening. What I mean to say is that the cost of doing right experimentation is actually reducing if it is tightly governed and controlled, and with the right level of fine tuning. But the cost of not doing experiments and losing stuff, right? It could be a loss of market share, very sharp. It could be a loss of brand. It could be the cost of taking a product to the market without experimenting it right could lead to disasters, right? So the cost is so high, and at the same time, the effort to do the experiments in a right manner is so in control that that is changing the equation in a big way. The last part, which I also think is extremely important, is companies' ability to do it in a scaled manner, in a democratized manner, leveraging new technology. That is a game changer, which is creating an impulse among businesses to rethink, redo, repivot their data centric experimentation. So these are the three things that I see is changing the game now. Back to you, Ashish.
Yeah, no, Ani, I think great points. It's not just the cost, but also it's about agility and the responsiveness of the organization to emerging market conditions. So great point. Vishal, do you want to add any perspectives on
Yeah,
that?
no, I think Annie covered it well, but what struck me was his last point. See, if you ask any CXO today from any organization that look, uh, do you think data centric experimentations are beneficial to you or will yield greater value? I don't think so. There's a single CXO who will say no. It's a question about, how do you kind of start doing it in a scaled fashion? How do you make data centric experimentations a democratized exercise where it's not done in silos or in certain business functions, but it's something which is part of the core DNA, culture of the organization, and it's being done in a scaled fashion. I think that's kind of the most important highlight for me.
Yeah, yeah. So Vishal, let's talk about marketing. And in the context of marketing, why do you think it is so important for the marketing function to embrace data-driven experimentation and data-driven marketing and all the concepts that we just talked about?
It's from a marketing standpoint, it's an interesting world that we live in. I mean, in a lot of ways, if you think about it, gone are the days when marketers made decisions relying purely on intuition or experience. Data has changed the game for marketers. It informs campaigns. It informs which channels you want to use. It helps maximizes the return on investment, and it drives a better customer experience at the heart of it. But again, data is just alone data is not enough. You need experimentation, which is test and learn, is an essential element of ensuring that your data delivers the results demanded by the business. The traditional marketing function, if you look at, in 1990s or early 2000s, the traditional market function analyzed data, but they largely used it for reporting purposes. What happened, where did we sell the most, what customers are buying. However, experimentation is the key to unlock true value from data. Think of it this way, right? Experimentation in every industry, not just marketing, is critical for development. In a lot of ways, the very items that we use today, be it a car, be it a mobile phone, be it a computer, they are, the version that we are using, they've been iterated upon, multiple times, and the ones we are using are the optimized final ones. Similarly, see, experimentation in marketing will be no different. Marketing experimentation, you used data-led ideas to see, to check whether they affect a variable such as product usage, user acquisition, trial signups, etc. So you having data alone is not enough. You need to use it to drive experimentation, to take risks, to understand, what works, what doesn't work. That's number one. Number two is, as I started this question by saying, it's an interesting time because the world is changing too fast. The whole post-COVID digital revolution has fundamentally transformed the way organizations work and the way organizations interact with their customers. Now, shift towards this digital has meaningfully impacted the marketing function. The CMO role, if you really think about it, the role was born with a focus on advertising, market research, and brand management. However, digitization has redefined marketing with the popularity of things like social media, user-generated content, influencers. It has meant that the marketing functions of the organizations have to adapt. And this is also where you would have heard the concepts of growth marketing. In a lot of ways, they're connected to the entire concept of data-centric experimentation. Because what growth marketing says that it's a data-driven approach to marketing that aims to fuel businesses' growth by identifying and maximizing opportunities for acquiring and retaining customers. So it's not just about focusing on brand awareness and brand management. It's all about driving measurable bottom line results. And that is where the marketing heads or growth marketeers, they have to use a combination of tactics. It can be search engine optimization, it can be paid advertisement, email marketing, social media campaigns to attract new customers to a product or a services. And that is when you would use data to analyze and optimize these campaigns, track metrics like conversion rates, customer acquisition costs, lifetime value, to continuously improve performance. So the data-led experimentation in the current digital world will become extremely important, for the marketing function.
Yeah, yeah. Annie, from your vantage, you've been working with hundreds of organizations on their analytics journey. What are you seeing? Why is it becoming so important for the marketing function to embrace experimentations?
Yeah, I think on top of what Vishal articulated very well, I will call out my experiences in two or three themes, right? So one is that every client, we work with some retail, pharmacy, this sort of clients, and they are with the available information, that is there, a lot of data that is generated outside with a lot of benchmarking. They now know that maybe what their bar is, that is not the industry bar, or there is an opportunity to raise the bar. So if I am doing X number of experiments per week or per month or per day, I can actually elevate it. That's number one. And data is available, and as business models are changing, they are realizing that it is very critical. That's number one. Second is marketers are realizing that it is now their job to make sure all business functions realize that they're also marketers, right? So I keep telling this in my company. The talent acquisition team is actually a marketing team. A supply chain and operations team is also marketing team with plus one and supply chain and all that. So that's a fundamental change that is happening when we talk to marketing. CMOs, and when we do a lot of strategic analytics, we are seeing that they are involving other stakeholders at very early, at the outcome targeted stage or in the hypothesis stage, to make it much more impactful and percolate it. The third thing, which is to me very clear, is experimentation is becoming the fundamental of innovation, right? Because everybody knows innovation is important, but everybody also realizes that the challenge in innovation is to get ideas from a lot of places, but to actually finalize which are the small bets to take, right? And experimentation led by a data centric marketing team is the best way to make it across the board, but to make it much more impactful and sharper. So these are the three things I see. Whether it's it's a entertainment client, or whether it's a hospitality client, everywhere I see these three things playing out.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's something which is very very evident. But Vishal, I think the concept of data-centric experimentation isn't very new. I remember back in the day, almost 15 years back, we used to do Six Sigma projects on marketing and trying to look at some of the data. But having said that, the marketing function itself has evolved. The tools, the technologies, the access to good quality data, I think all that has kind of evolved. But would love to hear from you, Vishal. What are some of the major shifts that have been happening in this space that now require us to think differently about data centric experimentation?
That's a good question, and I agree with you. So it's I wouldn't say it's a completely new concept to the marketing function. And think of it this way: as a marketing leader or a CMO, they have always had these challenges. Even like in the late 90s or early 2000s. And these challenges, if I have to highlight, the key three or four challenges. One, they're always facing a constant struggle as to where do they make their investments, which is the return on investment, right? Inefficiency in allocating resources and investments can have a meaningful impact on the ROI that they generate. Similarly, identifying ineffective market campaigns earlier or earlier than later can also help in stemming some of that inefficiencies or leakage that is happening in the marketing spend. Secondly, there's always a constant need to innovate. Marketing function wants to tap into new optima opportunities, or kind of try new things to better engage their customers. And this also leads to the part around having a constant pulse of customers, right? Where you want to personalize your content, your services, your offerings, that can lead to greater customer engagement and limited customer churn. And finally, the pricing part, right? No one wants to leave money on the table. They want to have optimized pricing according to what may work with the customers. So these challenges, what I've highlighted in a gist, have always existed. And to overcome some of these challenges, marketing leaders have always used some kind of a data-centric approach. So historically, you would have seen a lot of these marketers use survey-based data collection. However, and some of it is still kind of existing. So, it's still happening. But we do believe that the survey-based data collection is a retrospective analysis. You try to understand what has happened or what has happened, right? In terms of surveys, questionnaires, and feedback forms to collect data from their customers or users. Now, some of it would be helpful, but the pace of change in the industry, especially post-COVID and with the digital transformation portion, this is just doing survey-based data collection is not enough, right? Today, think about it. The marketing data, it encompasses a wide range of information from demographic and psychographic data to purchase history to social media behavior to even biometric data. And thanks to these advances in technology, this data can actually be now collected and analyzed in real time. Some of it was not possible 20 years ago, but now it is because of the digital footprint and the digital transformation and the way of doing business, which is very, very digital centric for organizations today. So this allows the marketeers, to collect and utilize this data to understand customer needs and preferences in a lightning fast speed. Now, in terms of, so if I have to kind of put a structure to it, right? How do you think about, why it is becoming more and more relevant for marketing function and the shifts, right? Number one, digital, right? We talked about it. Number two, omni-channel marketing. So customers are again using a wide variety of channels to engage with brands, be it through social media, to email, to voice assistants. It's no longer, single, one channel, engagement where you're getting the bulk of your business. Your business is actually spread to multiple channels. And to succeed in this environment, businesses need to create a cohesive marketing strategy that reaches customers wherever they are. And to create that cohesive marketing strategy, they need to collect the data for all channels and all touch points that they have with their customers. That is going to become extremely important. So omni-channel marketing is the second thing. Third, and I think this is kind of the flavor of the season, which is AI and machine learning. See, AI and machine learning is fundamentally transforming the way that businesses use data to inform their marketing strategies. We all know, what ChatGPT did, when it was launched last year in November, right? It has been trained on the entire internet. Marketing functions can actually use GPT and, AI to create new content, which can be hyper personalized to their customers. That's kind of a big kind of a leap, because otherwise it was all manual, before the new invention. Also, at the same time, AI and machine learning, these technologies can analyze data to make predictions where which messages might resonate more with customers, which marketing channels might yield you more ROI, which personalized marketing campaigns might work better for your customers. So all of these is in my opinion is proving to be a great aid to the marketer. So AI and machine learning is what I would say the third major shift. And largely I think the fourth one, which is attached to this AI and machine learning part, is we as marketing function or as marketing leaders, you also need to be a little bit more conscious of the privacy concerns and data protection. With rise of data breaches and consumer privacy concerns, as you kind of go on embarking your journey for AI and machine learning, the data protection part and the privacy concern will also become equally important, especially with tougher regulations like GDPR and CCPA. So I think that's kind of attached to the AI and machine learning part. But these are the broad three, if I have to summarize. The digital push, which is creating huge wide variety of data which can be captured and used. The omni channel marketing, which is how customers are interacting and engaging with different brands. And the rise of AI and machine learning, which can open doors to fundamentally new ideas, new insights which were never there. All of this is acting as a great tool for the marketing function.
Yeah, no, thanks, Vishal. Totally agree. I mean, from your perspective, you've been working with clients over several years. Have you seen any major shifts beyond what Vishal talked about for the last 5, 6 years?
I think Vishal has mostly covered the basic tenets from the client centric thing. I see a lot of stuff that Vishal already said, but I'll just call out two more things. See, as I said, marketers now want to involve all other business to make the experimentation and the outcome much more impactful. So what it means in terms of analytics, right? So there is a lot of you know there is a lot of intent and belief, confidence that we can move from like descriptive to predictive to prescriptive, right? And that's the holy grail of experimentation, where I become more confident in my predictions and then I can actually do better prescriptive analytics, right? So that's one. Second is that there has been this challenge of explaining the art and science of experimentation, right? So it's both art and science, right? So the first part, which is outcome to hypothesis, is extremely arty part, and then there's the other part which is execution at scale, which is the engineering part, and then there is a feedback loop, right? So far, what has been there is that these things have happened at different maturity within a client. Somebody is doing one part very well, the other part not so well. Now they realize that the sum of the parts is much more powerful, so they want to optimize all the traits, like the theory of constraints. They know that they are weak on one side, they want to go and fix that big time, right? So some clients where we have been doing strategic analytics, they're asking us to help us in their instrumentation and engineering part. Some people are saying we want to do more end-to-end complex experimentation. A lot of places where we are doing bits and pieces, we are now doing that entire chain. On one side, we are partnering with the decision makers, marketers, plus other stakeholders, but all the stages, they want to have control, confidence, and all the stuff around. They want to be sure that the risk and reward equation is right, but they want to go to that prescriptive state. So that's what I'm sensing from a lot of our clients in this journey. Back to you.
Yeah, and Annie, no discussion is complete today without talking about the biggest technology trend for the year, and which is actually a big thing, and there's lots more coming and evolving very fast, and that's Gen AI, right? So how is generative AI expected to transform this space? What are the key areas where Gen AI can be leveraged to drive more value, specifically from a marketing context?
Great question. I think the whole space of generative AI excites me because I believe that we in data and AI space, the holy grail for us has been to marry the art and science of it. As I was saying, the clients are getting it. There have been a lot of times where different technologies have come in to improve one side or the other, right? I'll give an example. This whole agile wave, right? Scrum, Kanban, continuous improvements, all that. It really improved the the science of it, the engineering, the instrumentation, the observability, the whole XOps wave, to compensate in terms of, are we selecting the right problem to solve? Is my outcome the right one? Is my hypothesis envelope the right set? That's been a challenge, and concepts like design thinking helped a lot in that, right? So a lot of companies try to marry the two to really improve. First time, I believe that Gen AI as a technology can bridge both. It can enable the creative and the imaginative part of the equation, and it can revolutionize the engineering part or the science part of the equation. I think that's where Gen AI is so fundamentally different. And marketing as a function is at the forefront of this marriage, right? So any marketer, they are super successful with, they can blend it. And as the Gen AI movement started, some people approach it from the creative side, some people approach it from the engineering side. I think marketers are fast realizing that this is one technology which can fuse the improvement in both sides in equal manners. Let me give some example. There are three parts. One is the whole outcome hypothesis, then there's the whole execution of the experiment, and then feeding it back for taking decisions, right? If you look at the first part, with multimodal, Gen AI, different models, and so many models are coming up, which target not just text, which initially with ChatGPT it was just that focus, but now with animation, video, audio. With that, we can make the whole process, especially when it is multiple stakeholders, you can make it engaging, immersive, and very efficient when you design for the outcome and the hypothesis, and you get commitment there. That's number one. And Gen AI can really help with that. Now, coming to the execution, one of the big parts which I believe strongly with Gen AI will impact every functional owner, whether it is a CTO, CIO, but also CMO, is for the first time, people have the confidence to bring in synthetic data generation, either to augment their internal data or external data, and create a very powerful data set which is right for that particular experimentation. That's another thing where synthetic data has been a popular concept, but not really took the flight because people didn't know how to build it in a very custom way for every experiment. But with Gen AI, I can do that. Obviously, the execution part of it, I can handle much more complex experimentations, much more parameters. Just sheer compute power, it is bringing it up to a next level. But the last part is also very important to me. When I get the results, I have to bring it back to the initial people and then get to the choice, the decision, and implementing it. This is where again with smart, I push some experiments, get the results, interpret it using the next gen AI concepts, maybe with smart prompt engineering, maybe with some other techniques where the to make it very much more conversational, immersive, and the decisions that will be taken will be sharper, faster, and implementable, practical. So that's in a nutshell. Like Gen AI impacts all these three areas because it caters to both the creative part of the experimentation journey and the engineering efficiency of the journey.
Yeah, very, very exciting and exciting times ahead, and can't wait to see what Gen AI can do and the art of the possible. So, Annie, I know we are at almost at the top of our time, and before we wrap up, how do you see organizations positioned today to successfully conduct experiments through data, and what would be a few critical success factors that organizations should consider as they think about going on this journey?
I think organizations are, I think as Vishal was saying, you talk to any CXO, they want to, they are excited. The intent, the excitement, I think that is there. What people realize is that the ability in terms of operating model, the people, the process, and the tools and technologies. So there is a need to have the right set of democratization versus governance balance. Spreading this thing in a where a great example is I think in TikTok, where at every level people can give experimentation ideas, but they have to support it with the right business case. There are certain rules that they put in that it has to be micro, short, but very sharp. So that is one, enabling factor. It could, if not designed properly, it could be a disabling factor. Also, the right governance around this the whole thing. Tools and technologies. I think marketers are working with the technologists very closely. They are also working with the designers to balance the creative and engineering part. It is important that companies understand that for the outcome they want to achieve, what is the right balance, and marketers should be able to get that enablement and empowerment from the organization. The last part is basically the ability to, what I keep saying, with agile days we used to say fail fast, scale faster. I think now it is important: fail fast, scale faster, continue to be the smartest in this game. So, continuously do this as a virtuous cycle, and sort of make it more and more efficient. To me, these are the three critical success factors. A lot will depend on companies who are able to absorb this, internalize it, and scale it up.
These are good points, Annie. Let me kind of chime in and kind of focus. And you touched upon this, but I think one of the key aspects would also be to striking the right balance of technology and business acumen, right? I mean, there's no point in accumulating tech debt and just focusing on, hey, let me kind of find 10 tools that can do something for me. That actually doesn't work. So you have to strike a right balance. See, at the end, and continue to experiment and evolve. So think of it this way: see, customers want great experiences. These experiences are increasingly digital in nature. Digital experiences can create a treasure trove of data. This data can be measured and improved, and further used to change what you're already doing. So it has to be a continuous cycle, and can't be that, look, I'll just deploy 10 tools and that will get the work done for me. So that's what I will kind of focus and highlight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, great points and great discussion. Thanks, Vishal and Ani, for sharing your perspectives. We talked a lot. We talked about the meaning of data-centric experimentation and why it is so important, how our organizations positioned to adopt it, the challenges they're facing. We talked about the major shifts in this space, including how GenAI will impact data-driven marketing. So wonderful points from both of you. I think in the second episode we will cover more of the implementation aspects of data-centric experimentation. So, what does it really take to implement experimentations? The team structure, the technology stack, the skills and talent required to drive these experiments successfully and drive marketing outcomes. So thanks everyone for viewing this. Please do join us for our next episode. Thanks once again to Annie and Vishal for being here, and look forward to seeing you and our participants again soon. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.